Shalom. Shalom and welcome. This is Man's Final Steps. It is a continuing series to those who will be among the ranks of the 144,000 in multitude, those whom of which I believe are being refined and perfected, to participate in the fulfillment of what's written in the 7th and 14th chapters of Revelation, and more. My brothers and sisters, today is February 13th, and in this segment of Man's Final Steps, it is entitled Eviction Time for Evil Occupants. Eviction Times for Evil Occupants. My name is Symmanayah, and this begins the next segment of Man's Final Steps. My brothers and sisters, come take a journey with me and examine the words of this message with a prayerful mind to discern and understand what is of importance. In this segment entitled Eviction Time for Evil Occupants, it is important to realize what's occupying our thoughts with each passing moment. What do we ponder on? What do we meditate on? What stirs within our mind? The longer we ponder or think on a matter that is unrighteous, the more that matter consumes our attention and time. It would be wise for us to come to grips that during these final days, these end times, we do not have the luxury of being sluggards or being lazy or slothful. Eviction time for evil occupants is here. Evil occupants of our thoughts festering unrighteousness leads to wickedness if gone unchecked. We are entering humbling times, and in the wake of what is foretold regarding famine, drought, pestilence, and disease, which are on the rise, it will be wise for us to respond to living in righteous guidance expeditiously. I strongly encourage each and every listener to consider what must and will be purged among the children of obedience, from the children of obedience. The 144,000 in multitude that will come out of the great tribulation are being refined and perfected to present a fulfillment of what has been written. There will be times coming away, and there will be a time of moving towards. The key is to discern and understand the righteous guidance from the Spirit of Yahusha and moving in the direction in which He is directing us. Listening to Him directly in spirit, or acknowledging His chosen leaders and following the guidance that is put before us. Allow me to present some scriptures, something to just be mindful of. Genesis 2:7. And Yahuwah Elohim formed man out of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils breath of life, and the man became a living being. This is to bring to mind that we have this treasure in an earthen vessel, and that treasure is the spirit of man, the spirit of life, being alive. Galatians 5:17 says, For the flesh lusts against the spirit, and the spirit against the flesh, and these are opposed to each other, so that you do not do what you desire to do. Keep this in mind, my brothers and sisters. While our spirit is in this tabernacle, this earthen vessel, the flesh will always fight against the spirit within. It will always battle against righteousness. But we have within us the Spirit of Yahusha, the power of the Almighty Father Yahuwah, to overcome and to possess these vessels and to manage these tabernacles with the power and might of obedience and true worship to Him. Keep in mind Revelation 3:19, which reads, As many as I love, I reprove and discipline, so be ardent and repent. Let us have a ready mind to repent when reproof is before us. Let us not waddle in discipline that leads to correction, but let us receive the discipline and repent and move towards improved obedience in our walk. Hebrews 12:11 says, And indeed no discipline seems pleasant at the time, but grievous, but afterwards it yields the peaceful fruit of righteousness to those who have been trained by it. John 14:26 said, But the Helper, the set apart Spirit, whom the Father shall send in my name, He shall teach you all and remind you of all that I've said to you. The helper, the set-apart spirit that the Father will send, he said in his name. This was Yahusha speaking. Far too many are sensationalizing the word Ruach and Ruach HaKodesh and just glaze over this passage that says specifically that the Father will send his set-apart spirit in Yahusha's name. It is the Spirit of Yahusha. It is Yahusha that if he is lifted up will draw all men to himself. Consider, which are you raising up and promoting most? The Spirit of Yahusha or Ruach HaKodesh? Ruach simply means spirit, not a name. Ruach HaKodesh means set apart spirit. Again, not a name. We strongly speak and preach and talk and fellowship on how important the name is. Let us begin to acknowledge the Spirit of Yahusha, whom the Father sent. Philippians 1:11 says, being filled with the fruit of righteousness through Yahusha, Messiah, to the esteem and praise of Elohim. Romans 12:2 reads, and do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, so that you prove what is that good and well-pleasing and perfect desire of Elohim. Renewing of our minds, my brothers and sisters. This requires eviction time. Eviction times for evil occupants of our mind. Purging them. Removing them. Coming away from compromising teachings and behaviors and practices. Romans 8:6 says, for the mind of the flesh is death, but the mind of the Spirit is life and peace. Ephesians 4:17 through 4:24 reads, So this I say, and witness in the Master, that you should no longer walk as the Gentiles walk in the futility of their mind, having been darkened in their understanding, having been estranged from the life of Elohim because of the ignorance that is in them, because of the hardness of their heart, who having become callous, have given themselves up to indecency, to work all uncleanness with greediness. But you have not so learned Messiah. If indeed you have heard him and were taught by him, as truth is in Yahusha, that you put off with regard to your former way of life, the old man, being corrupted according to the desires of the deceit, and to be renewed in the spirit of your mind, and that you put on the renewed man, which was created according to Elohim in righteousness and set apartness of truth. My brothers and sisters, we have this battle within our earthen vessel. Yes, we are entangled in spiritual warfare. The Almighty Father Yahuwah promises instructions, guidance, reproof, discipline, and right rulings. The Almighty Father sent his set-apart Spirit in Yahusha's name to teach us all and bring to remembrance all that he says to us. We are tasked with the pursuit of walking filled with the Spirit of righteousness. Though there are many different teachings on being filled with the Spirit, erroneous teachings will come to a halt among the children of obedience. Consider the following. Pray without ceasing. This is 1 Thessalonians 5:17. Also consider Exodus 19:5. And now if you diligently obey my voice and shall guard my covenant, then you shall be my treasured possession above all the peoples, for all the earth is mine. Obeying the voice of the Almighty Father. Let us seek to discern and understand and identify his voice. I submit to you, my brothers and sisters, being filled with the Spirit is an ongoing process of keeping our minds focused on the Spirit of Yahusha, keeping our minds on worshiping and obeying all that is righteous from him. Remember, the flesh will war against our spirit, so therefore from time to time we will fall. Yes, we will stumble. But through the power of the atoning power of Yahushua Mashiach, through the regenerating power of his set-apart Spirit, we are able to get up and press forward. When we are walking with a prayerful mind, body, and soul to be mindful of the presence of the Spirit of Yahusha in our obedience to His guidance, this represents being filled with the Spirit. Those who are of the body of one possess the Spirit of Yahusha. So do not be deceived thinking you must go work to have the Spirit of Yahusha come within you. We are to be obedient, yes. So in our obedience, it exhibits our actions and our witness. But the Spirit is not dwelling in us because of the works that we're doing. The Spirit is dwelling within us because we have become one out of choosing to worship and obey Him. And through this battle, we will see these bodies work towards righteousness. Pray on this matter, for there is much uncertainty in understanding what it means to be filled with the Spirit. My brothers and sisters, this topic requires much more discussion. But for now, I pray that this segment, Eviction Time for Evil Occupants of our mind, causes a stir within us to assess what is occupying our minds, what's occupying our thoughts. Believe it or not, one thought at a time over time equal habits that can form. It will be wise to choose righteous thoughts over evil thoughts. Let us know the difference between righteousness and evil occupants of our mind. Many of us are facing and will face some of the most challenging times of our lives as end-time prophecies intensify. Yes, these are humbling events coming before us. There are those who have embraced self-righteous positions with quote-unquote good intentions, of which neither represents obedience to the Spirit of Yahusha. These are indeed man's final steps. They require obedience to the Spirit of Yahusha. The 144,000 in multitude are being refined and will emerge. Choose wisely whether or not you are able to discern when it is eviction time for evil occupants of our mind. I strongly encourage each and every one of us to have the courage, the fortitude, the strength, and the discernment to purge evil occupants from our minds, evil thoughts, to purge and press forward into righteousness. Our journey is complex, yes, very challenging to say the least, but the righteous covenant made by our Almighty Father will be fulfilled. I invite you to consider listening to this message again and ponder on the passages of scriptures presented. Be encouraged, for the power and strength of the Spirit of Yahusha will execute eviction notices for these evil occupants of our minds, and we will come to be a refined and polished group, brought together, unified, and participating in the fulfillment of what is written regarding the 144,000 and multitude. Pray, watch, study, pray some more, and seek earnestly, more than anything, to discern and understand and obey the Spirit of Yahusha. Come to know what must be done. Until next time, my brothers, my sisters, my family, continue to press forward, for the day will come when we will soon be gathered into one place, a safe place, and wait for the return of our Mashiach, our Messiah, Yahusha. Until next time, stay tuned as this series, Man's Final Steps, continue. Shalom, shalom, shalom.